Hey there, Fallout friends! I have something very exciting for you today. I've stumbled upon a brand new building tool, which I'm currently calling the Shillar Drop. In this video, I'll show you how to perform this new no mods, no collision trick, as well as a new wall mounting technique later on. I think it's awesome, and I hope you like it too. Now there are many uses beyond poking ice boxes into cows, so here's a quick demo before I break it down for you. This thing is like an infinitely adjustable, placeable anywhere rug glitch. No more quick saving and hoping you don't put something down wonky. Now you can just drop things perfectly into position. Look at that. Starting at the start, here we have a fine assortment of shillars. These were given to us by Joe McD21, and there's a link to his video in the description. The shillars are great because the shelf moves with the pillar, so this means you have easy increased reach when placing items with group select. No more picking up conduit. Just a quick demo for anyone unfamiliar with the shillar. You can install shelves directly onto pillars. I like the concrete one because they go nice and straight and easy. The skinny pillars are a bit more finicky, but there is a sweet spot somewhere after a bit of wiggling, and then you can place it at whatever height you like. That'll do. If you prefer a ball track support, you'll just need to add a sign for the shelf to stick to. The shelf won't stick to the posts, but the sign will, and then the shelf will stick to that. And this may seem a bit stupid, but these ice creams are very tall and can be handy for a bit of extra reach. And you can see the shelf up there has no collision. Melting away the ice cream, let's get to the Shillar Drop. This is the elite version using rugs, though you can also drop plain furniture if you wish, like my icebox earlier. We'll get back to that. So here we have a rug on a rug. The rug on the left is riding up on the right side rug. Now we need to group select these rugs, ensuring the shelf will be beneath both of them. And then we lift up. For me on Xbox, that's LB and A. Place the rugs and then select only the shillar and drop it down. And then we store the rug closest to the pillar. This remaining rug drops down onto the shelf and we can move everything with no group select. Only the pillar has collision. From here, we can load up items and furniture onto additional rugs and put them just about anywhere. You'll notice if our shillar rug is too high, we can't get this rug up there. That's okay though, we just grab the shillar and lower it to the ground. Now as you can see, our loaded rug will hop up there just like an ordinary rug glitch. Again, no group selecting needed. If you do that, everything will have collision. It's just a quick grab on the pillar. So we can bring this over, and then we can place it down, check our alignment, and that's pretty off. The coolest thing is that you can reposition as many times as you like. There's no quick save required, no starting again. If you're inside on a hard floor, you can use the campfire or garden plot to sink your shillar. If you're like me and mess up on depth perception a lot, this is so great. So now all we do is raise the pillar on the y-axis, store the rug that's holding the item, and that's dropped perfectly into position. I don't think there's anything else like this yet, because the shillar is still relatively new and I haven't seen anyone else do anything like this. So we can do that again. Lower down your shillar, grab your rug with an item on, and hop it up. Just a short press on the pillar, and off we go again. Nothing but the pillar has any collision. It's only going red here because I'm too far off the floor. In case it wasn't obvious, I haven't done a proper tutorial before. Then we can pop this down from half a mile away and fine-tune it nicely afterwards. There are options for a shorter reaching setup a bit later on. But once again, we just lift up the pillar on the y-axis, store the rug that's holding the plant, and once again that's perfect. I love this so much. One way of decreasing your reach is the rug orientation. Oops, I've got the shillar too high again though. One thing to be mindful of here is leaving enough room for your furniture to drop when we finished. So we don't want the TV to catch on our Shillar rug. That should work. Head back over. We'll bring it in a bit closer this time and get vaguely in the right position. Just have a check. And it's poking through. But never mind, we can fix that. Much better. Now we raise up, store the rug. Oh, it's awesome. One more time with a rubber mat. Let's see if it works when things are getting a bit more cluttered. We'll just whiz through the placement here. Lift up. Store the rubber mat. And our funny looking display is complete. You can now grab just the counter and everything else will come along for the ride. But this is a cautionary tale of when I Shillar dropped a bit too greedily. This was completely pointless, but I was just testing things out. You can group select this whole arrangement to make it a bit squishier and just place it like normal. Or you could arrange your decorations on a pre-placed counter. I used the Shillar here to smush it into the wall a bit, lift it up, stored the rug, and this time the decorations didn't come along for the ride. Never mind. Now let's make a shorter reaching setup. So you arrange the rugs like so. The rug that rides up is the one we want to drop. Grab your Shillar, and for the shortest reach, poke the shelf right up to the edge. Place the Shillar and group select the rugs. Lift them up. Place. Don't fumble like me. And then drop the Shillar down, keeping your alignment from before. Place the Shillar and delete the bottom rug. And there we go. See the shelf is right up to the edge there? Now we'll just grab any random thing, doesn't matter what. Yeah, this guy'll do. Doesn't really matter, as long as it goes on a rug, this will work. And then we can put this wherever we like. Now we're going to take things up a notch, quite literally, with some wall mounting and catching options. We'll be using speakers for the test. Quick installation, and there we have a bunch of wall-mounted speakers. I don't much like this placement, but that's fine. We can grab the Shillar and just move it. How good is that? I still get so excited every time. Now let's see how we do catching our speakers. This footage is from before I thought to drop rugs, so we have to delete the shelf. Maybe a good idea to quick save before doing so as well. That's a no. So wall conduits are a no. Oop, stored the wrong thing. But pipe conduit does work, and you could hide that fully inside the wall if you wanted. Next to painting, that's a yes. And then a sign, a little hop up, but that works too. And there'll be more options than this, you can even just use a normal shelf, up to you. But now, when we move the sign, the speaker comes too. Same with the painting. Just trying to grab the sunken conduit. There we go, and the speaker stays behind. Next we'll be doing some testing whether storing the whole Shillar caused that to happen. As you can see, I made a little setup here with a few things to test. Some items are directly on the shelf, some are on rugs. Got a couple of speakers, a couple of hampers. And I'm sure this isn't necessary for many of you, but just in case, here's how to install the conduit to catch the things initially. That's a group select, and then we want to sink it into the wall a bit. I've sped up the fiddly part. And then here's a little tip for you. If you pause the game, you can see if it's poking through the wall enough. It just takes away the highlighting and shows you whether the conduit's visible. So I've also left an end exposed for easier grabbing later, but otherwise that looks good. Now I'll show you how to drop an item directly onto the Shillar. It's the same idea as before. We just lift it all up, but you need to make sure the shelf will be under the item to catch. I happen to know the backs of these hampers have quite a deep jump point onto rugs, so I'm trying to get as far under as possible. And then we drop the pillar down, store the rug, and now that hamper is sitting nicely on the shelf. So while we've got it, we'll go ahead and poke it into the wall. I don't know at this point how these will react with their kind of stingy catch point, but it's just worth a test. This will be trial and error just to see where things catch, how they catch, and if it works. A good indication is how and where they hop up onto rugs. Some things have a gap between themselves and the rug, some things need to go further on. Anyway, so this hamper is just on rugs. We'll just pop this one up here. Then a speaker on rugs. I'll speed up some fiddling. And I realise I didn't leave room for these to drop. It does seem to need a moment to calculate that. Give them a little gap there. Then whiz through the Shillar only speaker. This is quite an unscientific test with a few too many variables. I have some conduits at different depths, but we're just playing really. So we'll put a couple more speakers in. Everything nicely sunk in the wall, and we're ready for some deleting. Once again, this is probably the point you'd want to quick save. So first up, we will delete only the shelf. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be riding on the conduit. Next we'll store the whole Shillar. That one jumped. But it's not attached to the conduit. As expected, deleting the shelf only, that speaker is attached to the conduit. It seems to get confused by storing the clamped items at the same time. So then if we lower this one, we'll see where it goes. Store the Shillar, and that one dropped. Unfortunately it doesn't work with the rugs. They get left behind. The speaker is still riding that one. And then when we store it, there's a neat drop, which would be nice for precise placement if you hid the conduit in the wall or wanted to keep it visible even, but the speaker is attached there. The previous one isn't though, so that's good, we have options. And this clearly won't work. And there's that stingy catch point in action. Again, quick save would have been good before deleting the rug. So we'll pull this one out a bit. Store the Shillar, and that's caught. So we can just take the conduit away and have things nicely hanging on a wall. I'm sure you can select your items better than this and get creative with it. You just have to put the item straight on the Shillar, store the whole Shillar at once, and then you can freely suspend things, and it appears to have worked every time we've done that so far. I'm just trying to grab the sunken in conduit here. This, of course, was the one where we only stored the shelf. I'll leave this in all your capable hands to keep testing. Just find that sweet spot between dropping or jumping and get creative. This can be done with so many things. If you can put it on a rug, you can put it on a Shillar. To finish off, I'll leave you with this footage from right after I discovered the trick. These trees have a massive catch area. I was just messing about with them because their collision is horrible, and you'll see why that was an issue here. I was actually trying to get the hang of a technique from the insane Shillar when I first did this. It was completely by accident. Much like the accidental Shillar store from earlier, I got double lucky. Anyway, I do need to thank Shek, because I wouldn't have stumbled upon this without trying and failing to follow his teaching. This is a very clumsy effort here. I was honestly just so excited I couldn't do anything steady. It's also quite an awkward place and angle. If you want to see how the massive tree comes out, check back in December sometime. At this point, I would just like to thank you so much for watching. If you think this is a cool trick or helpful, please give it a thumbs up so YouTube will spread it about to more builders. Feel free to share it about to anyone who might find it useful, and above all, please have fun with it. I do hope that together we can refine this and make all sorts of cool new stuff. Maybe even uncover some greater potential. What you've seen here is really the extent of my testing so far. I just wanted to hurry up and give it to you all, which I hope I've done acceptably. As I said, I haven't really done a proper tutorial before. All that's left to say now though is, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and happy building.